How is everybody?
Hello.
Um, all right. Hi, everybody. I hope y'all are having a wonderful night. My name is Abby Warren. I am your Emerald Ambassador upline, and I'm super excited to talk about cold messaging tonight. I feel like we have a lot of new faces here, and so I'm really looking forward to connecting with you guys and hopefully giving you some training and some encouragement that will help you work your business more effectively and efficiently, and just it'll give you more confidence. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about my story just because I do feel like a lot of y'all I haven't met yet and you probably don't kind of know my backstory. So I'll just share a little bit of that real quickly. Um, so I started the products right after I had my fifth baby. My energy was at an all-time low. I had like 20 pounds that I just could not lose. I was working out. I was eating healthy. I was doing everything in my power to get back into my pre-pregnancy clothes. And I had done it 4 times. And this fifth baby was just, I think just after having so many pregnancies, it just took a toll on my body. And I was just a hot mess. My hormones were all over the place, just had a lot of stuff going on. So I signed up as a customer under Lindsay Bryant because I trusted her, and she was not like a salesy person at all. She was not a typical network marketing like what you think of. She was a friend, like she was just a normal person. And I knew that she cared about me. And anyway, so I trusted her. So I started taking the products. A weekend, I'm texting her going, okay, I haven't lost 10 pounds yet. Like, what's up with this? It's not working. And, she was just, encouraging and just, was like, this is not a quick fix. Just stick with it. So a couple months into my journey, I noticed that I had started losing a little bit of weight. It was coming off slowly, but I was feeling so much better. I am one of those people who I have those blood sugar crashes. I'm not diabetic or anything, but my blood sugar will bottom out super easily, and it did so very frequently during my pregnancy, to the point where I thought, surely I have gestational diabetes. And I even told my doctor, and they were like, nope, you're good. You don't have gestational diabetes. But I just thought, this is not right. So that was the first thing I noticed on the products was I wasn't having those crashes where I would have to run to the kitchen and, eat a cookie or drink orange juice or whatever just to get my blood sugar back up. And then the weight started slowly coming off. I noticed my allergies were going away. Just lots of extra benefits besides weight loss, I guess, over the 6 months. So I did not really start working the business until about 9 months into my journey. And I just got to a point where I was kind of watching Lindsay, and, she was doing great. She was slowly but surely building a team. I was on her team page, but I think I unfollowed it for a while, and then I kind of like followed it back again. But I wasn't just super interested, but I had, it was kind of in the back of my mind. And I started to just really, it was like, I don't know, God just opened my eyes to the potential of what this could be. And so just several different things happened, but I decided to start working the business. Robin was the very first ambassador that signed up with me, which was super encouraging because I just trusted her. I trusted she had so much knowledge about health and hormones. And I thought, if she puts her stamp of approval on this and she's in, like, that just boosted my confidence so much because she's so knowledgeable and just really cares about her health and takes good care of herself. So that was like late spring, early summer that I started working my business. And I just quickly kind of got like a fire in my belly to just do this thing. And when I jumped in, for real, I was not playing. I mean, I was posting daily. I was messaging. I saw the potential. I wanted to go for it, and I just went for it. And if Lindsay told me to do it, I did it. I looked at the people who were successful in this business, and I tried to copy their posts and just do what they did, basically. And it was awesome. And it's been an incredible journey. It's definitely been a roller coaster. There are lots of highs and lows. It's not all sunshine and roses and trips to Hawaii and free cars. And I mean, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into this. But I feel like I've grown so much as a person. I feel like it's been really good for my kids to see me. I've been just a mom, not in a negative way, but I had been just staying home with my kids for 7 years. I quit my job as a labor and delivery nurse. And so I think it was kind of good for them to see that, I still had dreams and I still wanted to accomplish things. And, it's been a family affair for us, definitely. Our whole family is on board. My husband's on board. So like I said, it hasn't always been easy, but it's been totally worth it. And I can tell you that our team is incredible. We have amazing relationships. And honestly, the relationships for me started right here on these Zoom calls. Some of my best friends, Kelly Godwin is a super close friend of mine and Robin's, and I met her on a Zoom call. That's how we connected. And so, it'll be interesting to see a year from now, who you guys are, really good friends with and who you've, gone on trips with and things like that. But I can tell you that our team culture is, it's amazing. It really is. And it starts from the top down. We have amazing uplines that are just wonderful and encouraging. And it's not like this everywhere, because I've talked to a lot of people that are on different teams or do different businesses. And we have something special here. And so that's kind of my top priority, is just to keep the relationship aspect of this going for my team. Because if you have trusted somebody and joined this team, we really care about you and we want to meet you where you are and match your efforts. And if you want to go for it, we want to cheer you on and equip you and train you and do everything in our power to make you successful, and not everybody jumps into this and wants to run to the top of the company. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, whether your goal is to make, $500 a month because you want to put your child in a private school or pay for, soccer and dance, or whether you need to replace a full-time income, we're on board with whatever your goals are. This is your journey. And my best advice is just put your blinders on, and you're going to hear that over and over and over, but it's so true. Don't look around, partner with people around you and kind of run the race together, but just don't put yourself on a timeline and start comparing to other people, because we're all going to have our own journey, and, God's timing is perfect. I'm a huge believer in that. And, it's just been amazing. You will grow. If you do this, you will be a different person next year than you are today. I can promise you. And God will totally use this to stretch you and grow you. And, even your family. Like I said, my husband, we've had some hard discussions. When I'm doing stuff like this at night, it's an adjustment, for you to give up that family time or time with your husband. And so, you have to kind of get your people on board. And it did take him a little bit to come around to that, but he's super supportive. So anyway, enough about that. We'll kind of dive into the cold messaging, but I like to share kind of my heart and my story. And just, y'all know that if you ever need to talk about something or vent or whatever, I'm here. You can message me. I'm happy to get on the phone with you and talk through whatever you guys need. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I started. When I started working my business, like I said, I started posting daily. Hang on one second. Sophie. Sorry, y'all. I have a sick child. So if I have to hop off, there's other people that will take over for me. Um, anyway, but so I started posting daily. I was sharing, you know, sharing my results, sharing other people's results, sharing just knowledge about the products, gut health information. I really tried to make my posts very personal and, sometimes funny. And I really tried to make it not salesy at that time. And this is nothing against It Works, but that's just what pops into my head. I must have somehow been friends with a lot of people that were doing It Works. And I just remember seeing those ads come across my feed, and it was just like not personal. And you're like, is this an ad or is this a person posting this? And, just not attractive at all. And so my goal was like, don't make it like that. Make it like, you're sharing your favorite concealer or your favorite lip gloss or whatever. Like, because I truly was sharing something that I loved and that I felt like was going to help other people. So I tried to make it very natural, posted a ton, and I just started reaching out to people like crazy. And I set aside time. I would stay up at night. And I just, made my list of 100, got on Facebook, started writing names down of people, at that time that I felt comfortable reaching out to. And I really sent pretty much very basic, simple cold messages because that was just kind of what I was told to do. Every now and then I would send maybe like a relationship building message. But my thing was this, and I think relationship building is important where, you message people and it's, you're engaging them in a relationship. But my thing is people see straight through that. Like if you're doing relationship building with them just to 3 days from now throw a sales pitch at them, they see right through that. And I think most people, that's almost a turn off rather than attractive, because they're just like, oh, okay, well, I thought this girl wanted to be friends with me and talk with me, but she really just wants to sell me something. So when I messaged in the beginning, I pretty much just got to the point, and I would just, I didn't do copy and paste messages, but each person I would think about, okay, who is this person to me? What's our relationship? And if they were selling something, what could they message? What message could they send to me that I would actually maybe respond to and not just blow off, because we've all gotten the messages, hey love, I love all your pictures. Would you like to be a product model? And I can send you some samples. And, we've gotten those messages before. And, I guess some people respond to those messages, but I would pretty much just say, I don't know, that just seems so, it's a cut and paste message, and it's people are not dumb. They see right through that. So, we try to train people, don't insult people by sending them a message like that. But I would just say, hey, how are you doing? I don't know if you have seen me posting about Plexus, but, it's something that I'm fallen in love with. And it's, I may include one sentence about what it had done for me. If you ever find yourself interested in trying it, I'd love to talk with you. And that's paraphrasing, but it would be something along those lines. Like, I'm doing this, and I just got straight to the point, but I sent out a ton of messages. And this is the thing you have to know with cold messaging. This is why it's kind of good to sit down and do them in chunks, because it's like you do one, it's hard. The first couple messages you send, you're just like, oh, you don't want them to misunderstand you. But after you've done a couple, it just gets a little easier to get them out. And, I just move on. I send the messages and then I move on about my day, move on about my life. I don't keep checking Messenger to see if they've responded, nothing like that. I just keep sending more and more messages. And then, when I have like a follow-up day where I'm going to follow up with people, then I'll start scrolling back through Messenger and figure out who do I need to follow up with. Some people will actually keep a list, on paper. I wish I was that organized, but I pretty much was just to scroll back. I do keep lists now in my planner, and that is helpful. I'll write people's like name and email address or whatever contact info I have, so I can flip back and follow up with them. But I really I think that a lot of times we get caught up and it slows us down. We want to come up with this perfect message, and you may agonize for 20 minutes over like, oh, what do I say? How do I say this? When really it's just like, depending on your relationship, it's just like, hey, what's up? I don't know if you've, or sometimes I would say something like this, like, if you've been looking at Facebook, I'm the crazy plexus lady right now, but I'd be like, seriously, this stuff is amazing. It's done this for me, and I would love for you to try it. If you ever think about it, let me know. I want to be your plexus girl. And I would just try to make it lighthearted and fun, and just got out as many messages as I could. And, most people are probably not going to respond immediately. So you have to kind of go into it knowing that you're not going to get your feelings hurt when every person doesn't immediately respond to you. Do any of our other leaders have anything they want to throw in? Because I mean, y'all, this is just how I've done it. It may not necessarily be the right way to do it, but I just want to share like what has worked for me. And for me, it was simple, short messages to a whole bunch of people. You're just scattering seeds. And, I tried to just keep it short and sweet. And I did probably send some of those super long messages where you're like, scroll, 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 scroll. Nobody's going to read that. Okay. So really the shorter, the better. You don't have to send them clinical trials, in the first message. I mean, and it really, even when you're talking back and forth with them, the shorter the message, the better. The longer it gets, they're not going to read it all. So it's like, you kind of want to play a game of tennis. Like, you hit a ball, they hit it back to you, you hit them one ball. You don't hit them 10 balls at one time. It's overwhelming like that. So does any of our other leaders have any different strategies that you feel like have worked for you?
I guess one thing I would say, with the algorithms that have changed on Facebook, I think we were able to put out a lot of plexus information before, where we don't put out quite as much information now. So I have been toying with sending, maybe some of those small videos that are on, in our back office. But one thing I do always try to do is end with a question. One thing I will say is basically what you said, and I will say, do you have any health goals or issues that you're concerned about, or that you would, like some help with? And that's pretty much exactly what Abby said, and I will, if it's appropriate, I will throw that in.
I love that. I think that's a great tip, is to end with a question, and I love that. Like, do you have any health goals you're working on? And if people know Robin personally, they know that she's a health nut, and they're going to value her opinion on that. So I think that's perfect. Or you can say, have you heard of plexus before? Have you ever considered taking a probiotic? Just a simple question. I feel like, really, it's kind of crazy how even in the past year or two, gut health is just so much more. You see it on the media. I'm following several like gut health people on Instagram, and it's becoming a little bit more mainstream. Whereas 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was only the super crunchy people that were like taking probiotics and, just kind of on that train. But now, normal people like me, who I'm not like a holistic health person. Like, I try to be healthy, but it's just, I'm not like, 100% like clean eater, all this stuff that I'm just like a health fanatic. But so I think normal people like me are just now starting to get educated on the benefits of probiotics. So, I think a lot of people, I didn't even know, when I signed up, I didn't even know really what I was taking. And I had never bought a probiotic before, except for when my kids would be on an antibiotic, I would get some little probiotics from Target or something. And I thought that was the only reason you would ever need a probiotic. But I feel like as the general public starts to get more educated, it is interesting. And so a lot of those messages that I sent a year ago, people are just now starting to respond to. So you never know. But the thing is, and this is why we try to get people to post immediately, if people don't know you're selling it, and like Robin's had this happen to her, and I'm sure I've had it happen to me. If people don't know you're selling it, you may have close friends that'll run and buy it from somebody else because you haven't really been clear that, like, I am an ambassador, I am selling this. So if nothing else, you're just giving them that knowledge that, hey, if you want to buy this, you can do it through me. So I like to just, like I said, keep it short and sweet. Try not to stress too much over it. It does get easier the longer that you do it. Some of us probably are more comfortable with it than others. For me, it was hard in the beginning. But the more people that signed up and the more people that fell in love with the products, and, some of my customers and my ambassadors started having health testimonies, my belief just kind of went through the roof, because I was like, not only did this work for me, it's working for a lot of other people too. And that just made me more excited to share it with other people, other moms like me who were, struggling, or, people with arthritis, people with autoimmune stuff. And it was pretty exciting to think that I may have something to offer them. And that helped me get over, because I was just like, oh gosh, are they going to think I just want to sell them something? But I mean, I know the products really do work. It's not a gimmicky thing. Our company is super solid. There's science to back everything up. And I was personally seeing people have really good results. And so that just, I would just try to put it in my mind, like, my heart is to help these people and help my family. And if I can do both at the same time, then that's a win-win. And so I had to stop myself from thinking, oh, I'm bothering people, this is annoying. No, it's not annoying. I think there's been one person who has sent like a snotty message back to me, one or two people. I mean, most people, if they don't want it, they're just not going to respond. But I'm telling you, a year from now, when they're dealing with some health crisis and their doctor says you need a probiotic, their memory is going to go back to that message you sent them. And they're going to be like, oh, I thought that was totally bogus, but I guess I do need a probiotic. So just plant those seeds. And, the more you plant, the better results you're going to have. Now, I'm not saying go like spam 1,000 people, because again, I think people, if it's a cut and paste message or it doesn't sound like your voice, they will see through that. It needs to sound like you, the way you talk, the verbiage that you would use, things like that. But the more messages you send and the more consistent you are posting on Facebook, usually the better results you're going to have. So that's pretty much all that I have to like talk about, but I would love to just hear from some of you guys if you want to type in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself and, maybe tell us where you're struggling, or maybe you have like a conversation going that you don't know how to respond to. We'll just open it up right now.
Hey, I was going to share one message that I do a lot that has gotten a lot of results and started conversations. I will just like straight up say, hey, do you currently have any supplements that you're using and loving? If not, would you be open to try something new? And I've actually gotten several people that responded to that, because it's not very threatening. It's just asking a really simple question. And I mean, everybody's responded yes or no to that. And if they say, yes, I'm open to something else, I've gotten several customers that way. Because, I mean, if people are on something, usually it's not something super high quality. And then if they're not, everyone at least wants their kids on a vitamin or a multivitamin. So I've had really good luck with that. And then also I always send happy birthday messages. And those I feel like always get good response. So my team has heard me say that several times, but
yes.
anyway, two things that'll work for me.
Yeah, Stephanie has a great happy birthday message that I have saved in my phone, and I will do that. I don't do those every day, but I think that's a great reason to reach out to people for sure.
And Lindsay, I was talking to her about it, and she sends in the very beginning of the month, and this is a lot, but she sends a happy birthday message to everyone that month and says, like, I offer free shipping during your birthday month or whatever her special is. And then on that person's birthday, she follows up with just a happy birthday, like nothing about Plexus, but it kind of helps start that conversation back up again without being, Plexus all in their face all the time. So I like that one.
Yes, I think that's good. I love that. I don't think I've heard you share that before. The one, your one that you send. We need to type that in the comments of something because that's definitely a good one. Does anybody else have anything?
I really like what Lindsay recommends sometimes. It's kind of a indirect approach of saying, do you have anybody who suffers from, and she'll just name 3 or 4, migraines, autoimmune issues. If so, I would love to help them out. So that's kind of an indirect way for that person to come back at you themselves, or say, oh, well, I do have this friend. And maybe they don't feel like you're reaching out quite as pinpointing them.
Yeah. And that's a good follow-up message too. Like maybe if you're messaging with somebody and they're just like, I'm just not interested right now. And honestly, timing is everything. We're all like this. Sometimes you're kind of in the mindset of health and taking care of yourself, and sometimes you're just not, and if you push and push and push and start somebody when it's not the right time for them, it's going to be a struggle. They're not going to take their products. But 6 months from now, they may, have kind of hit a point in their health where they're like, gosh, I've got to do something. And they may be in a better mindset then. But I think that's a good, if they're not interested, you could just say, okay, well, if you ever change your mind, let me know, and then you could kind of go into, do you know anybody who suffers from these things? I would love to help them. We're seeing great results with people who have migraines, arthritis, and whatever issues. So that's good to ask for referrals.
I had someone actually text me today. We have a mutual friend, and I talked to her 6 months ago about Plexus. She said I wasn't interested. She was already taking some other things. So I said, that's fine. Like, if you know anybody else, I would love to be able to talk to them. Well, she sent me a text today and has a friend who lives in Colorado who's also diabetic who wants to start the products. So, that's 6 months later. I didn't necessarily get her to sign up, but now I have this new person who's interested in being a customer and an ambassador. So, you just never know where these conversations will lead to.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, I think if it's people that know you and love you and, maybe they don't want to buy the products from you, but maybe they would just support you by giving you a couple of names of people, just as a referral, something like that. I think a lot of people, even if they're totally disinterested in the products, they still maybe want to support you in your business. And so if you just let them know, like, I've just started this business and, I would appreciate any names you have. It would mean the world, to me, just you supporting my business in that way. Or if you come across anybody, send them my way and I'll take great care of them. So, just things like that you can work into conversations. Because I really do think most women, enjoy supporting other women who are in business. So I think that's definitely good. Okay, Taylor, I'm reading your message. Okay. So Taylor says that she sees lots of people posting about how they're tired all the time, or their kids are sick, or they're depressed or anxious. I don't know. What did some of the other leaders on here think? I feel like I've definitely done that before. I think sometimes you got to use your judgment with timing. I mean, like I know another ambassador is in the hospital with her child right now. Her child's literally like in the ICU, and she had somebody from a supplement company like reach out to her about products that could help her daughter, and like that's not good timing, you know. I mean, so you know, maybe just sending them that. I mean, that might be the time that I might just send like a relationship building message, especially if you have a friendship with that person. Like, you know, hey, I saw your post today. I'm so sorry that, you know, that you're having a rough day. Like, you know, just send kind of an encouraging message, because this is the thing. If you're posting on Facebook and Instagram and they follow you, they know you sell it. I mean, they're aware. And so sometimes I think just letting them know that you care about them, you know, it's that to me is just a judgment call of if you want to go right in. You know, that would be just, that's going to be kind of a case by case scenario. And that's one where I would, if you're in doubt, message your upline, you know, ask a couple different people's opinions. Like, hey, I saw this. I'm thinking about messaging this girl. And I still do this. I was chatting back and forth with somebody, and I went on one of the threads and was just like, hey, here's these messages. What do you guys think? What would you say? I mean, because sometimes you kind of just need to, toss around some ideas with other people. And if you have a couple, you know, 2 or 3 people who are willing to do that with you, you'll probably make a better decision with something like that. And just knowing the person's personality, you know, if they're super easily offended, maybe like going right into like, hey, I saw you're tired, so you need to try my pink drink. May not be the best idea, but some people, you know, they may appreciate that. So this is where you got to use your people skills.
But if I think if you make it sincere to start with, then it's fine. Whether it's something you can relate to, of I used to be tired like that too, or say
Mm-hmm.
it's anxiety or weight, maybe something you don't struggle with, but just start off with saying, you know, hey Rachel, I'm so sorry you're going through this, and can't imagine how hard that must be. Um, you know, I've loved doing Plexus with these godly women, and it helps with a whole slew of issues. If you'd ever want to talk about anything Plexus or non-Plexus, I would love to chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done that to somebody who posted about a horrible, embarrassing weight situation somewhere, and she wrote back and, you know, said, I really appreciate your sweet words. I'd love to hear more about Plexus.
Yeah. Yes. And definitely sincerity always wins. And a lot of times when I'm going to send a message like that, like I'll type it out and just send it to another ambassador, just like, hey, does this sound okay? And if they're like, yes, that sounds great, then I'll go for it. So yeah, you just got to use your judgment. But people really, you always want to make people feel like you have their best interest at heart, and you're not just trying to make a quick buck off of them, you know, because truly that's really not what we want is a customer that's going to, you know, be here one day, gone tomorrow. We want people who really are looking for solutions to their health issues and who are going to be around long term. That's, you know, that's the best investment for you. That's good, Heart. I like it. Heart is wonderful at relationship building, and I feel like you have a very sensitive spirit to people, and I feel like you have a lot of empathy, and so Heart would be a good one to bounce an idea off of, because I feel like that's what you've built your team on, is just caring about people and just relationship building. So that's great advice.
Thanks.
Anybody else got anything? I know y'all have questions.
Taylor, I actually did this just a couple of days ago. So I have a friend, I don't usually reach out to people that I work with, but I overheard a girl in the hallway talking about her hormones being out of whack. And she's been posting about how she's been dieting and she's not losing weight. And then the other day she posted something about how she was so exhausted. So when I'm not so sure if I should reach out to them automatically, I try to just comment on their post and make sure that you're sympathizing like on their post on Facebook. And then, you know, if you're not so sure, just watch it for a little bit. Make sure you target what you're posting to whatever issues they're dealing with, because they're going to see that. And then, you know, like with this girl, I've heard her issues for the last few weeks. I haven't said anything. And then I'm very red, so I tend to not beat around the bush like Abby. So I sent her a message and I was like, hey girl, I don't usually reach out to people I work with, but I couldn't help but overhear this and I saw your post. And so I can't help but tell you that I have something that I know would work for you. If you're ever interested, let me know. I'd love to share more, bring you a sample or whatever. And I mean, she appreciated it. She said, you know, she'd actually done Plexus in the past, but things have changed since she's done it. So sympathy always works, or empathizing with someone on their post. And then, like everybody else is saying, be genuine, be sincere. Don't beat around the bush. Go for what you know, to help them. So that worked for me.
Yes. Yeah. And I think people appreciate you being direct like that. And like just exactly what you said. I mean, most people are not going to be offended by that because it was sincere, it was direct, and you're not pressuring. You're not just trying to throw a pink drink in her face. You're like, I have something that I really think can help you. So, and a lot of times you will encounter people who have tried Plexus in the past, and they'll be like, oh, it didn't work for me. I always ask, oh, which products did you try? And how long did you use it for? And a lot of times what you'll find out is maybe people that just did the pink drink, and maybe they did it for like 2 weeks or something. So they may say they've tried Plexus, but they probably didn't have great support, or they weren't on the right products. So that's not a dead end. If people say, yeah, I've tried it, didn't work for me. Like that's actually, I've gotten lots of customers and ambassadors who have tried it before and they did not have good customer care. So they didn't know what they were doing. They were not on the right products. They didn't have any encouragement to push through the detox. And so, and what I have found is that a lot of people have much better success the second time around, because they're a little more committed. We can educate them better. So definitely don't let that be, that's not a dead end if people say they've tried it before. Anybody else? Oh, voice messages. Brooke asked about voice messages. Yes, I love voice messaging because my goodness, it's a huge time saver. I mean, if I can send a voice message to somebody, it's a huge time saver. I would suggest when you're first starting to do voice messages, write out what you're going to say. And so you can kind of, and read it a couple times to where it sounds natural, because what you don't want to do is, you know, have it be kind of awkward and then you get cut off at a minute. But I would keep it under a minute. So be mindful that you've got 1 minute to do that voice message. And so, you know, just from a practical standpoint, just writing it out and reading it a couple times so where you're comfortable saying it, and then reading it as you're voice messaging. But the good thing about voice messaging is that you can really put your personality into it. People can hear your excitement. And so I think definitely, you know, if it's the right situation, I don't know. What do y'all think about voice messaging, like people you haven't seen in 20 years or you've never messaged before? I feel like it's more natural if you know the person a little bit better. You don't have to be best friends with them, but you know, I just try to think like, is this going to be awkward or not? But if it's somebody that you've messaged with before at all, or somebody that, you know, I think it's definitely the way to go. Y'all have any?
I like voice messaging. I just feel like people, like I didn't ever voice message before Plexus. And honestly, even though Erin was one of my good friends. Sometimes she'd voice message me. I'm like, I don't like voice messages. I don't want to listen to that right now, but I did, eventually. So that's my only hesitation is if people think, oh, I thought you just, did that on accident, or I didn't really know how to play it. And they might not come back to you and say that, but they might just not be listening.
Yeah. I will say I think my initial messages are usually typed out, and then if they respond, I will usually respond with a voice message. And a lot of times they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's so cool. I didn't even know you could do that. And the next thing I know, they're voice messaging me back. Now, if they're you can kind of tell if they're like not, you can kind of tell they're not digging the voice message and they're typing everything back. And, you can even ask them like, can I voice message you? Is that okay? Or I've even asked people like I'll send a voice message and I'll be like, hey, can you hear this? I sent you a voice message, but I don't know, if you're able to hear it or not. But yeah, they are good. Especially if you are a little bit more of a bubbly personality. I think it can be helpful just to kind of have that. It's a little bit more of a connection with people.
Kyle has a lot of friends from California that he went to school with. And so I always start out, and I don't know them. I'm just in that area of my market that I'm, messaging people that are on the periphery of being acquaintances. And I'll go, yes, I'm from the South. I hope I'm not shocking you by this because I'm Southern for even Southern people. So I just try to break the ice with something like that. So, if it's someone that you don't know like super well, which you get to that place in your business and, you just kind of have to be prepared to step into another level of your comfort zone. But I would like to know if anybody sends any, information, like, when Abby was saying, if there's any questions you ever have, or if you'd like any more information, and they'd say, yeah, send me something on the probiotic. Do y'all send stuff? Has anyone sent videos? Does anyone find that helpful? Or do you just try to engage what you know about the product? I always come back and ask, well, what are your health needs? Because you can't just send, I've done that before, and people just like go blank. You're sending everything on triplex and it overwhelms them. So I try to narrow it down and go, well, what are your specific health goals? And then I'll just usually answer, out of my own product knowledge. But I'm curious for people that do send stuff. Do you send it, and do you find it helpful? Do people respond? If anybody does that.
Well, I'll tell you what I do. I very rarely send, people will say, yes, send me some info. And I'll be like, yeah, I can totally send you some info. But I really don't. I just keep the conversation going. I just keep asking them more questions and sharing my experience. And I try to just keep it very conversational. Because you're right. A lot of times if you start sending like big chunks of information, it shuts the conversation down because they may not have time to look through that. But if you, and again, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, but I have heard several other jewels or diamonds, training on cold messaging saying that they don't usually send like bulk information on stuff. You may have, if you get those green personalities in there, they may want like, send me the ingredients list. Well, yes, you can send them the ingredients list. Like if they're asking like super specific questions, I have like a typed up thing that I need to update. But I'll use that a lot. Like if they're like, well, what's the triplex? And it's kind of like a typed up thing of just super layman's terms, and just what it's done for me, kind of. And it's, it's like a paragraph, because again, I think the shorter, the better. And if you can get them on the phone, I feel like that's hard when you're brand new, because you're probably not going to be comfortable talking about the products. Like that would have been super intimidating to me in the beginning. But 3 months into this, if you're having lots of conversations with people over Messenger about Plexus, and you're doing trainings and learning, you're going to be comfortable talking about the products. And I am not one that can list off every ingredient, but I can speak knowledgeably to what the products do in layman's terms. Now, if they ask like, a crazy question, I'll be like, you know what? I know that the answer to that is out there. Let me get back to you on that. So it's totally okay to not know everything. But sometimes if it's the conversation's going well and you can get them on the phone for a couple minutes and just, share kind of your story and your thoughts, sometimes that is just a huge time saver, honestly. Because a lot of times if you have a phone conversation, what I found is they're willing to go ahead and sign up immediately, and it saves you from having a 3-month conversation over Messenger. So if you can get them on the phone, I think that's helpful.
So I do have a video situation that I send that tends to work pretty well for me. Usually I go through the conversation and the sequence of questions a decent amount. I don't send it right at the beginning, but when they ask, what is Triplex, and I've already told them a little, I usually say, I have a really short video that I love because it shows how the products are so work well together. They're symbiotic relationship. So, in the text, I say, this is a short 3-minute video. The probiotic scrubs your intestines, the other one flushes it out, and then the Slim feeds it. And I send that old Jill Wernes video. And I think that really gets through to people well of, oh, this is why they're so powerful together.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I think that's a good strategy. And I have used the Triplex shareable too sometimes. I know what video you're talking about, and that's definitely a good one to send. It's just going to look a little different for everybody, I think.
I have a question.
Okay.
Another one. How do you approach your people on your 64 list from back office that would rock the business, but it's like the column that doesn't necessarily need the products, but would rock the business? How do you approach them? Because I feel like it's taken me, I've only been doing this for 6 weeks, but it's I still feel like there's so much I can learn about the business. How do you share how great of an opportunity it can be in a cold message?
That's a good question. Amy, do you want to answer that?
I actually have a message that let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm not gonna be able to find it, but I have one that I kind of use and tweak depending on who the person is and what our relationship is like. But I'll always say something like, girl, I know this might sound completely crazy, but I just keep thinking about you. And I tell a little bit about how the business has affected me and my family, 1 or 2 sentences, very short. And then I just tell them why I think they'd be good at the business. I think that you'd be great at the business because, you have such a fun personality. People trust and respect you. You have a great network of friends. I don't know if it's anything you've ever considered doing, but I think that if you were to consider it, you'd be great at it. And just kind of tell them why you believe in them. And that, you're here to help them. And a lot of times people will respond back and say, yes, I have thought about it before, or no, I definitely haven't. But it opens up the conversation and it kind of puts it on their radar. Even if they're not ready then, at least they have some information. And it kind of breaks the ice a little bit, they know a real person who does this and has done it, and had fun with it. It's not, I think people have very preconceived notions about network marketing. And a lot of times because they've had a really bad experience with it or they know somebody who has. And so for you just to start that conversation and just to be open and honest with them and complimentary of them, and why you think they'd be good at it, I think really helps a lot.
Okay. I just feel like I'm not the typical girl. I just never would have seen myself doing something like this. And so I'm just worried that they're not going to believe me. Do you know what I mean? Because
I would say that.
I was going to say, that's exactly what you need to say.
Yeah. I never in a million years thought, because I am the same way. I would say I never in a million years thought I would do this. It kind of fell in my lap, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. Because for me, that's 100% true. I never in a million years. I was a 4th grade teacher. So I'm used to talking to 9-year-olds all the time. And so now I'm home with 3 kids under 6. But, it's just where the Lord has brought me, and it's been such a huge blessing. And I'm just very honest about that. I was not searching out nobody is searching out a network marketing job.
Yeah. That's pretty much everybody. Yeah. Nobody, yeah. I think everybody can identify with that. Everybody says, oh, I'm not a salesperson. I would be terrible at this. Everybody says that, and I'm like, well, that's great. You don't have to be salesy. It's, you can kind of make it what you want to. But yeah, I feel like some people there are differing opinions on whether you should reach out about the products or the business or a little bit of both. I'm a super red driven personality. And so I see a lot of value in reaching out to people about the business. I know some of the yellows want to crawl under the bed, talking about reaching out to people about the business. But I just see a lot of value of just, like Amy said, complimenting someone, telling them why you would enjoy working with them, why you think they would be successful at it. And if it's a sincere message, I think they're going to be flattered by it. They may not respond. I know Lindsay Bryant, our Sapphire upline, said that somebody reached out to her about Advocare, and but they never followed up with her. And she said she was kind of flattered by the message, and she was kind of thinking about it, well, maybe I could try it out. But they never followed up with her. And she said, I honestly think if they had followed up with me, I would have tried it. But they never followed up with her. So that's a great one. Maybe send a message like that, a hear me out kind of message. And I did that a lot with my close friends, like Stephanie Drew. She was my best friend. And I, of course, wanted her to do this with me, but I also was not going to pressure her to do it with me. And I was just like, look, this would be way more fun if you would do this with me. And if we could go to Hawaii together in a couple of years, that would be super fun. And she is a great leader. She's a people person. And I was like, you would be amazing at this. And I would just, randomly text her stuff like that every now and then.
And Taylor, there's a video on YouTube, and I'll try to find it and send it to you. But there is a Plexus ambassador. Abby, you might know, or y'all might know what this is. She built her whole business just by sending messages about the business. And so she focused on business builders instead of product lovers.
Is that Bridget Ryan?
No, it's not. She's at Disney World with me. She sat on the bus next to me on the way home. What is her last name? War? What? I want to say
where?
No, that doesn't sound. I don't know. I'll find it.
We'll find it.
What I'm talking about. But
yeah,
went enrolled in 9 months.
Yeah, I see a lot of value in it, and this is the thing. And we'll end this in a couple of minutes because I don't want to keep y'all too long. But if you want to do this to grow a team, you need business builders. You need people who want to work the business. You need to be seeking out people who need the financial opportunity. And trust me, it is there. A lot of people, this is what I think happens with a lot of people. A lot of people will sign up to do stuff like this because they think it's going to be super easy. And when it's not super easy, they're like, I'm done. And they give up way too early. So, I try to set realistic expectations. I'm not promising that, you're going to be a millionaire next year, but I really do feel like, and people call network marketing the 4-year career. If somebody jumps in our team and is consistently working their business for 4 straight years, they're going to be successful. I mean, there's just almost no way around it. I mean, if you're doing the things that, that everybody before you has done, and you're, growing your network and building relationships, like, you're going to have a measure of success. You just have to be willing to stick it out. But, it's great to have customers, and it's great to have wholesale people. Most people will say that they don't want to work the business in the beginning. And I see a lot of people like not adding people to team pages because they're like, they don't want the business. Well, if Lindsay had never added me to her team page, we wouldn't be having this call right now, because that is where I caught the vision for the business. I didn't catch the vision for the business on her personal Facebook page. I was on her team page going, well, dang, this thing's growing. Like, she's adding people and they're adding people, and like, this is kind of crazy. So, you never know who is going to want the business. People will surprise you. But I always try to plant the seed, even with people, who just want to be customers or wholesalers or whatever. I always try to plant the seed and then add them to the team page and let them kind of, that will pique their interest probably. So, anybody else have anything? Any questions? Anything they want to share? Robin, do you have anything else? Any thoughts brewing that you want to share?
I have a random one.
Okay.
So I have not posted anything on Facebook. And so I'm wondering if y'all have heard of anybody cold messaging that has not seen posts. So like a lot of what y'all are saying is, hey, I know you've seen a lot of my posts. I would love to talk to you more. So what about cold messaging without those first initial posts?
I mean, you can definitely do it, but I don't know anybody who is very successful at the business without sharing on social media. Because it's kind of it's sort of like you send the cold message, but then if they're seeing you share it kind of on the other side, it just works really well together. And, a lot of people may think, oh, this is gimmicky, but, I've been posting on Facebook about Plexus for 2 years now. And so people, that builds people's belief, because they know I'm not, a sketchy person. I'm a nurse. Like, I'm intelligent. I'm not trying to scam anybody. And I've been sharing these products for 2 years, and I'm still taking them. And so it builds their belief. And so now I'll get messages from people saying, okay, like people I've never messaged before, randomly reaching out to me like, okay, I've been stalking you for 18 months now. Like, tell me about this Plexus stuff. Like, I want to try it, So I think that if you want to be at the top of the company, you're probably going to have to post on social media. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that. I don't know. I think that you can be very smart about how you post, and you don't have to be salesy at all. And you can make it your own. You can put your personality on it, and it can be what you want it to be. But everybody that I know that is at the top of the company and building a team they're proud of what they're doing, and they're sharing it on social media. Does that help?
It does.
But Teresa, don't think that you have to wait to message people until you've been posting for a week or two or something.
Yeah.
You can still start out and say, I've been using these products and love them. They're either doing XYZ for me, or I started them because they were doing XYZ for others.
Yeah.
So you can still start both of those at the same time.
Yes, definitely. And, I'm a believer, like, this can be whatever you want it to be. And so, I just try to tell people what's worked for me and what has worked for other people. And I just try to be super honest. I think you can definitely have a measure of success without sharing on social media. And we can definitely talk through that more later if you want to. But, just realistically, people who, if your goal is just to put, get your products paid for, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that would be doable, but.
I think that social media validates you when you send a message out and they're mulling it over and they have the opportunity to see you on social media and that you're consistent with it. And because I'm going to be honest, I took a bit of a break and I got into this intentional type of mindset where I'm just going to be very personable. And I am not going to talk so much about Plexus right after we change the algorithm. And it's done nothing for me. Okay. So I am going back doing to what I know works. I mean, I've been doing it long enough. I afforded myself that luxury. And people expect me to talk about Plexus is what I think. Not all the time, not in their face, but they want to know, what are my results? What are the results of my children? Is it still working? Or did you just kind of fall off the map? And was that is that just something you kind of was a hobby for you for a little bit and then you got out of it? And I mean, and it just depends on what your goals are. If your goal is just to, pay for your products or whatever, I totally agree. But if you have a goal and a mindset of like, I have an ambition to get to a certain level in Plexus, where it's, pretty financially rewarding, you just have to embrace, what you're doing. And that's, those are just my thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely happy to chat through that later on if you want to. I get it. I mean, I know, or if what you're saying is you're just hesitant to post on Facebook, then I totally can empathize with that, because I struggled with that. Like, what are people going to think? Are they going to misunderstand me? Like, I actually have a post right now I'm working on talking about just kind of going through that mental battle and just knowing that some people may not receive it well and some people may unfollow me. But I'll tell you what helped me with Kelly Godwin that I talked about earlier. I was kind of like just struggling a little bit, like, ooh, like, am I really doing this? And what are people going to think? And she was like, look, their opinion of you is not paying your bills. It's not putting a roof over your head. Like, unless they are living in your household, you don't need to let their opinion of you dictate your life. And that really was just, and I'm paraphrasing what she said, but that really just set me free to kind of pursue something that I really wanted to do, but I was just wrapped up in fear of like the repercussions. And, there are going to be people that, may be annoyed or whatever, but I just really think it's their loss. So, and Julia Carty unfollowed a bunch of her friends that did Plexus, and then next thing she knew, she tried it and her kid's eczema went away and she was, on the bandwagon. So, anybody else got anything? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope this was helpful. Definitely happy to chat through anything else. And I'm excited about our cold messaging week. So hopefully this will empower you guys and give you confidence and give you some new skills. So y'all have a wonderful night, and I will try to post the recording, or if anybody needs the recording, just let me know. So y'all have a great night. Bye.